Imagine the silence after the final flicker of the power grid, when the hum of the modern world vanishes. The person living next door is no longer just a neighbor, they are a variable. In a high-stakes game of survival where the currency of trust has completely devalued, most people imagine the end of days as a cinematic explosion, but the reality is far colder. It's the absence of the 9/11 operator, the local grocery store, and the thin veneer of civility. You are left with your gear and a community of people whose true nature is about to be unmasked by hunger and fear. At Victor's Logic, we focus on the reality of these shifts because the primary threat to your life isn't a lack of calories, it's the human element within your immediate zip code. Three specific archetypes are waiting to emerge. You might see them every day right now, but you won't recognize them until the pressure hits. If you fail to categorize these threats within the first 48 hours of a collapse, your chances of seeing the end of the week are slim. We aren't discussing how to track game today. We are learning how to spot the predators hiding in plain sight. The first shadow you'll encounter is the void. This individual is defined by a total lack of stakes. Imagine a man who has watched his entire world, his home, his family, his sense of purpose, turn to ash. When you look at him, you don't see grief or fury. You see a terrifying emptiness. The void is the most volatile person in a crisis because he no longer believes in tomorrow. Without a future to protect or a legacy to leave, the concept of consequences becomes a punchline. He will burn down your shelter or take your life over a perceived slight without a second thought. You can spot them by their fractured behavior. They might be eerily still one moment and exploding with irrational violence the next. They don't just need space, they withdraw into a dark internal rehearsal. If you see this, do not attempt to be their savior or their therapist. You aren't qualified, and they are beyond reach. To create distance immediately. If you must interact, be the non-threatening gray noise that lets them drift away. According to the principles of Victor's Logic, trying to save a sinking soul will only pull you under with them. Then there is the tactician. For this person, conflict is a native tongue. Whether they have a background in the military, law enforcement, or the underworld, they share one trait: they are comfortable with the mechanics of force. While the general population is paralyzed by shock, the tactician is calculating his next move. Chaos isn't a disaster to him, it's an opportunity to exert influence and consolidate resources. You'll recognize him by his physical presence, the way he maps a room, his controlled gait, and a lack of the frantic energy that consumes everyone else. He doesn't panic because he's already made peace with the cost of survival. Dealing with him requires a different strategy. Never try to out-tough a professional, they will smell the bluff instantly. Instead, make yourself a high-value asset. Be the person who provides utility without surrendering your autonomy. Respect is earned through competence, not posturing. If he leads a group, be doubly cautious, as he will use his natural gravity to bind people to him through a mix of protection and fear. However, the most lethal threat isn't the man with the vacant stare, or the one with the tactical vest, it's the false shepherd. This is the individual who arrives with a smile and a helping hand. He's the one coordinating the community, distributing his own water, and making everyone feel like things might actually be okay. He builds a foundation of reliance so that when he eventually asks for everything you have, you'll give it to him willingly. He doesn't need to break down your door because you've already invited him in. This is the smiling predator. They use the first few days of a crisis as a reconnaissance mission, asking innocent questions about your supplies and your family's vulnerabilities. Under the guise of concern, they are masters of the divide and conquer strategy, pulling individuals aside to plant seeds of suspicion within a group. To counter a false shepherd, you must play a mental game of chess. Don't call them out in public. They'll just paint you as the villain. Instead, silently harden your defenses, compartmentalize your information, and if they've already infiltrated your inner circle, you must excise them before the trap snaps shut. Ultimately, staying alive is about mastering the art of the human profile. You have to look past the surface and read the stress responses. Does their history suggest a tendency toward manipulation? Does their body language, the white knuckles, the darting eyes, or the predatory stillness betray their intent? This isn't just theory, it's the core of Victor's Logic. Once you can read the person, you can protect the prize, your resources, to keep your supplies safe from these three archetypes. Follow a strict protocol of invisibility, never display the depth of your preparation, look as tired and hungry as everyone else, divide your inventory into hidden caches, so that one breach doesn't mean total bankruptcy. Move your gear under the cover of darkness or during the quietest hours of the day. If you aren't tracking every ounce of what you own, you won't notice when a smiling predator begins to bleed you dry in a world without rules. Your gear is secondary to your intuition. The void, the tactician, and the false shepherd are already out there walking among you. If you can't see them for what they are, no amount of stockpiled ammunition will change your fate. Keep your eyes open, keep your guard up, and remember that in the new landscape, total trust is a debt you can't afford to pay. Now that you know the players, you're ready to survive the game. Welcome to the reality of the new world.